The recent joint session of Congress marked a significant moment in American politics, featuring President Trump's address that sparked both vocal protests and subtle demonstrations of opposition. The session illuminated the deep divisions in Congress and highlighted contentious claims about the nation's trajectory under Trump's leadership. The dramatic opening moments set the tone when Democratic Representative Al Green of Texas disrupted proceedings with a direct challenge to Trump's mandate. This led to an immediate confrontation as Republican Representative Nancy Mace responded forcefully, shouting, "Sit your ass down." The situation escalated until Speaker Mike Johnson was compelled to direct the sergeant-at-arms to remove Green from the chamber, demonstrating the heightened tensions that have become characteristic of joint sessions. Female Democratic lawmakers orchestrated a coordinated visual protest that proved more sophisticated than Green's outburst. Scores of representatives, including former Speaker Nancy Pelosi, chose to wear pink attire, creating a striking visual statement amid the traditional sea of blue and gray suits. This deliberate fashion choice echoed a similar demonstration from Trump's 2019 State of the Union address, when Democratic women wore white to commemorate the centennial of women's suffrage. Both instances showcased how clothing choices can serve as powerful tools of political expression within the formal constraints of congressional proceedings. The president's handling of economic issues, particularly inflation and the cost of basic goods, revealed both the challenges facing his administration and his approach to addressing them. Trump notably struggled with the topic of egg prices, a key consumer concern. While he attempted to lay blame squarely on the Biden administration, stating, "Joe Biden, especially, let the price of eggs get out of control," he offered limited concrete solutions. The reality behind egg price increases is more complex, primarily driven by widespread bird flu outbreaks that have devastated hen populations across the country. Trump's economic proposals remained largely consistent with his campaign promises, focusing on increased energy production and reducing what he terms as government waste and fraud. In a notable moment, he introduced Elon Musk as a central figure in this effort, claiming Musk had identified hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud, an assertion that significantly exceeds official administration estimates. This highlighted a pattern of bold claims that sometimes diverged from verified data. The president devoted considerable attention to social issues addressed through executive orders, each announcement drawing enthusiastic applause from Republican members. These included controversial measures such as renaming the Gulf of Mexico and an Alaskan mountain, establishing English as the official language, eliminating government diversity programs, and implementing restrictions on transgender athletes in sports. While these executive actions could be implemented quickly, they illustrated the administration's preference for immediate, visible changes over longer-term policy solutions to complex economic challenges. Trump's assessment of public sentiment revealed a significant disconnect between presidential rhetoric and polling data. He claimed an astonishing record 27-point swing in public confidence about the country's direction, suggesting unprecedented support for his leadership. However, Reuters' Ipsos polling told a different story, with 49% of Americans believing the country was on the wrong track, compared to just 34% seeing it moving in the right direction. The president's economic policies, particularly regarding international trade and inflation, have received mixed reviews from the public. His implementation of steep tariffs on Canadian and Mexican goods has contributed to ongoing concerns about international trade relations. Polling shows only 1/3 of Americans approve of his handling of cost of living issues, while his approach to international trade garners just 36% approval. His overall approval rating stands at 44%, only slightly higher than Biden's peak during the latter half of his term. Despite these modest approval ratings, Trump didn't hesitate to criticize his predecessor, declaring Biden the worst president in American history. This statement, however, seemed to ignore the fact that his own approval ratings barely exceeded Biden's highest numbers, suggesting a more complex reality than his rhetoric acknowledged. The joint session served as a powerful illustration of the current state of American political discourse. The combination of theatrical protests, coordinated demonstrations, and disputed claims about national progress played out against the backdrop of one of democracy's most formal settings. The event highlighted how even traditional congressional addresses have evolved into platforms for competing political narratives and various forms of protest. The stark contrast between Trump's portrayal of his administration's success and independent polling data underscored the ongoing challenge of reconciling political rhetoric with measurable outcomes. As the nation continues to grapple with economic challenges, social changes, and political polarization, the gap between presidential claims and public perception remains a crucial factor in understanding the current political landscape. This joint session of Congress ultimately revealed much about the state of American democracy, the power of both vocal and silent protest, the impact of executive actions versus legislative solutions, and the continuing challenge of addressing complex national issues in an increasingly partisan environment. The event demonstrated how formal political proceedings have become stages for multiple forms of political expression, from outright confrontation to subtle symbolic gestures.